Let's continue with the Blaze King Blue Collar videos. So we're going to talk a little bit about catalyst activity and catalytic thermometers. So this one has been in use for many years, since the 1980s, used by Blaze King, and it generally has gone into the top of our Princess insert and freestanding models. What this tells you is the activity of the catalyst itself. Oftentimes people think their catalyst has to be glowing to be working, and that's the furthest thing from the truth. In fact, glowing is only indication of an extreme amount of gas that's being processed by the combustor. So once you light the fire, this needle and closure bypass, this is going to slowly move toward the active range. And in doing so, it will register in this range here throughout the day, throughout the burn cycle and evening. And that is because the catalyst temperature varies based upon the amount of gases flowing through it. Sometimes people think their combustor should be glowing, and glowing indicates activity, not glowing indicates no activity. That is not true. In fact, glowing just indicates an excessive amount of gas that's being processed. It can glow uniformly across the face of a combustor, or it might just glow in a section. But what you should pay attention to is the active range on this thermometer. Now, in brand new stoves, the catalysts are very hyperactive. And being hyperactive, the actual needle can wrap around much further than indicated. That'll settle down after the first season. When we introduced the Sirocco 25 and Ashford 25 inserts, we also introduced a new type of catalytic thermometer probe. Now this gauge is different because it has the thermocouple rod, a lead, and then this gauge. This probe sits down behind the catalyst, and once it's installed, you don't see it because a shroud goes onto the firebox and hides this instrument and the wiring. But this gauge is cleverly designed down in the lower left-hand corner of your insert to give you an idea about activity. Now, as you can see, there's a needle, and there's a green zone and a red zone. Once this catalyst reaches activity, this needle will travel up to about the 12 o'clock hour, right about here. And it won't go any further because it is nothing more than an analog switch. And once it reaches that activity, it'll stay there. And if it goes inactive, it will drop down into the position you see here. One thing to pay attention to during the installation process is the leads on the back. There's a yellow lead right here that should definitely go to the positive terminal, a very faint plus sign right here on the gauge, on the back of the gauge itself. So make sure these are in the right position. Otherwise, the polarity is messed up. And instead of moving towards the right to the red, it goes left and further into the green. So that ends our blue collar video today on catalyst thermometers.